Welcome back to McStory Time with Miss McMahon. Guess what, girls? I've got one more story about a squirrel for you this week. And you know what his name is? His name is Earl the Squirrel. What? Did you notice something about his name? Earl the Squirrel. Earl and Squirrel. It rhymes, doesn't it? Good. You figured it out. Well, Earl the Squirrel, ladies, if you notice on the cover of this book, he is wearing something that I don't think squirrels don't usually wear. Do you see it? I think you do. He's wearing a scarf. Do squirrels wear scarves? I don't think so. But he is also holding on to something that squirrels do usually gather. They usually collect these and gather these, especially when it's before the winter time. You're right, it's an acorn, and squirrels love acorns. Well, quite possibly this story is about Earl the Squirrel maybe trying to gather some acorns. What do you think? I think that might be true about this story. Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? And we're going to read Earl the Squirrel, and the author and illustrator is Don Freeman. Let's see what happens to Earl the Squirrel. Let us see. Early one autumn morning, a mother gray squirrel was talking with her young son, Earl. "It is high time you went out and learned how to find acorns on your own," she said. It's probably a good idea, right? When you get bigger, right? When squirrels get older, they have to go looking for their own acorns, don't they? But Earl didn't know the first thing about finding acorns, so away he sailed to visit his friend Jill. Oh, he has a little friend. "Good morning, Earl," said Jill. "Here is an acorn I have saved for you." Earl was pleased to have found such a big acorn so quickly. His mother would be happy. He twitched and twirled his tail, which was his way of saying thank you very much. "And here's a nutcracker to help you open it," added Jill. "A nutcracker? What? Girls, do you know what a nutcracker is? It's something that you use to crack open nuts. Now, do you think squirrels need a nutcracker to open their nuts, or do you think they can do it on their own? I think maybe they can do it on their own." Earl scampered home, eager to show his mother what he had found, but when she saw him, she said, "Earl, come in right this instant. I want to speak to you." Oh, does Earl's mother sound very happy? I don't think so. "Whoever heard of a squirrel needing a nutcracker? Why, it's absurd," his mother scolded. "You got it from Jill, didn't you? I'll bet she gave you the acorn, too. That girl's making you into the most spoiled squirrel in the whole world. Now take that nutcracker right back." So guess what? Earl took it back, right? Just as his mother asked him to. "You're back so quickly, and you didn't want the nutcracker?" said Jill. "Well, never mind. I have an extra special present for you." And she tied a beautiful red scarf neatly around Earl's furry neck. "I really made it for my doll," she said, "but he wanted you to have it." How proud Earl was of his scarlet scarf. That was a nice gift, though. A nice gift. Well, let's see what his mother feels about the scarf. Back home, he sailed with his tail all unfurled. But when his mother saw the scarf, she said, "Earl, come in here right this instant. I want to speak to you." Uh-oh. Mom isn't happy again, right? "Whoever heard of us needing something around our necks to keep us warm?" his mother fussed. "Now, that girl has done it. You are the most spoiled squirrel in the whole world." Oh, poor Earl. Earl knew that his mother was right. That night after supper, he tied his scarf into the shape of a sack. So I guess he figured, well, we don't really need scarves around our necks because we're squirrels, we have fur. So he made his scarf into a sack. While his mother slept, out he crept. Earl wanted to show her that he could find an acorn all on his own. So he went off to find an acorn all by himself, all on his own. All night long, Earl searched in the bright moonlight, under rocks and up in trees and inside empty old moleholes without finding one single solitary acorn anywhere. Poor Earl. But he didn't give up. By morning, Earl was very tired. In fact, he was all worn out, right? Wouldn't you be all worn out if you were up all night looking for acorns? His ears were getting cold. So he tied the scarf around his head. Oh, his scarf was useful, right? He got cold. He used it. That's better, he said to himself. Maybe that's an old squirrel hole for me to sleep in, thought Earl. Oh, sees a whole hole. You think that's a squirrel hole? I don't know. You think someone else lives there? I think so. But look who was inside! Who was it? You're right, it's... Oh, excuse me, said Earl. I didn't know you lived in here. Who do you think lived in here? Hooted the great horned owl loudly. And who ever saw a squirrel wearing a scarf? Right? My friend Jill gave it to me, Earl said proudly. And by the way, could you tell me where I might find an acorn? An acorn? Hooted the great horned owl. Why, certainly, there's a great oak tree right over there full of acorns. But I wouldn't go anywhere near it if I were a squirrel wearing a scarlet scarf. Why is that? Conrad the bull would not like it one bit. You know what bulls do when they see red. They get awfully mad. But Earl didn't hear a word the owl had said about the bull because he was already halfway over to the tree. He wanted to get that acorn. And look who was snoozing there so peacefully, but who? Conrad the bull. Uh-oh. And Earl is wearing that red scarf. What's gonna happen? Bulls don't like red things. Okay. Earl hopped up on top of the bull's burly back. He didn't see Conrad's long, sharp horns. All he saw were acorns galore. Who's that tickling my shoulder? The big bull smoldered. Who was it? Uh-oh. He doesn't look happy, does he? Earl didn't see Conrad's nose. All he saw was a great way to reach the acorns. Oh, he's just almost there grabbing it. And all Conrad saw was Earl's scarf. Uh-oh. Just then, guess what happened? Conrad got awfully mad. Uh-oh. With one flying leap, Earl escaped up into the tree, but his scarf had come untied. Oh, dear. It slipped off his neck, and it dropped. Quick as a flash, Earl reached down and snatched his scarf. "Don't you tear my beautiful present," he shouted. What is Conrad going to do? Conrad snorted and charged with all his might. He charged right into the tree, and his horns got stuck. Oh, my goodness. He got stuck in the tree. He pulled and he yanked until he shook poor Earl out of the tree. So he got stuck, and he kept pulling and yanking, and he shook poor Earl out of the tree. But guess what else happened? Along with hundreds of acorns came down. Bonk! And one fell right on the top of Earl's head. Oh my goodness. "Thank you, Mr. Bull," said Earl politely. "I didn't mean to put you in all this trouble. I needed only one acorn, but I guess I'll take two. Tomorrow I'll be back for more." And Conrad really helped Earl out by getting the horn stuck and shaking the tree and getting all the acorns down. After tying 2 acorns in his scarf sack, Earl threw it over his shoulder and hurried back home as fast as he could scamper. Conrad grunted and groaned until at last, with a powerful yank, he freed his horns from the tree, and down the hill he reeled head over hooves until he was out of sight. He ran away. So what is Earl going to do? He's going to take his acorns home, isn't he? He's going to show his mother that he got his own acorns. When Earl arrived home, he presented one of his acorns to his mother. She saw it and said, "Earl, come in here this instant. I want to speak to you." Could she be mad again? Why would she be mad? Earl got his own acorn. Once inside, his mother took a bite of her ripe acorn. My, this is the most delicious acorn I've ever tasted. How did you find it? Oh, my lucky scarf helped me, said Earl happily. After his mother finished her acorn, he went to pay Jill a visit. What is he gonna do? On the windowsill, sitting very still, was Jill's doll. After taking out the acorn, Earl tied his scarf around the doll's neck. Here, sir, I don't think I need this anymore. And then Earl gave his tail an extra swirl. And before he swept away, he left the acorn for Jill. Oh, so he gave his scarf back. The next night, the moon was full, and Earl returned to the giant oak tree. Thanks to Conrad, there were plenty of acorns scattered on the ground for tomorrow. But tonight, Earl scampered up to a high branch and picked one just for himself. The end. And that is the story of Earl the Squirrel and how he got his own acorns on his very, very own. Now, girls, guess what? One more little surprise, one more thing that was in your take-home bags. And it looks like this. It's paper clipped together, and it might look a little curious to you. It might look a little familiar. It's not, it's all in pieces, but what do you think it might turn into if we take it apart? Do you think it might be a what? Oh, do you think this might be an acorn that you can make on your very own? I think so. All you need is this and your glue stick. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put some glue on the top part of this part of the acorn. So you're gonna just skate some glue on the top. Now, if you have your acorn at hand, okay, if you don't, that's okay. I'm gonna show you how to do it, so when you have it, or when you get it, you know what to do. And this is the top, or like the little hat of the acorn. Looks like a little hat, doesn't it? And all you have to do is just stick it on the top, right? So it does look like a little hat, doesn't it? And guess what? This is just a pretend acorn, right? It's a paper acorn, it's not real. And acorns don't really have these, but I thought it would be fun to put some eyes on our acorn. Okay, so you have two white circles, and you have two black circles. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna skate some glue on each one of your white circles. Okay, some glue on one white circle. And you're gonna put it on your acorn for an eye. Right about there. He's got big eyes. And you put glue on your other white circle. And you put it next to the other white eye. Okay. There we go. And then you're gonna do the same with the black circles, because it's gonna be the middle part of your eye. And glue it in the middle of your white part of your eye. And do the same with the other black circle. Okay, and he's got big eyes. Your acorn has big eyes. And I know that you've got some crayons, and you can use your black crayon, maybe to make a little nose and a little happy face. It's up to you, you don't have to. This is just a big-eyed acorn. Acorns, as you know, really don't have eyes, do they? But you can add eyes and a little nose. Okay, and a little happy face. I'm gonna draw a little bit. I'm gonna press down right here so you can see. Okay, and there you have a happy little acorn, just like Earl the Squirrel. So now you have gathered a little acorn, just like Earl. All right, girls, I've enjoyed talking about squirrels with you this week. Until next time, bye-bye.